This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222. The statistics are absolutely shattering. A 45-year-old woman on her own, without doing IVF, in the next 12 months has less than a 1% chance of a pregnancy. If at 45 she decides to think about doing IVF, perhaps the chances are 1 or 2%. So even with IVF, we're not improving things greatly, but we are improving things slightly. There are 2 or 3 things that I then, after breaking that bad news, I then talk about what the science says about it. We looked at over 800 patients who were 46 and above, so not necessarily 45, but 46 and above, and we ended up with 2 babies out of 800 cycles. That's the reality. But 2 babies is 2 babies, and I'm afraid almost any woman that comes and sits in front of me, because they've made the effort to search out fertility, will say, I could be the 3rd. I do my best to make them realistic, but most will continue on the journey. Once I've done a discussion, we then go into a bit more of the preparation if we do want to go ahead with the cycle. And that will determine a little bit more about whether I'm able or willing to push forward. So a woman at 45, the number of eggs has been depleted substantially. The way we measure that is a substance called anti-Müllerian hormone, AMH. And on average, the woman who is 45 will have a level less than 2, compared with when they were 30, where it was more like 15. That's just reflecting the egg numbers have declined. However, there will also be many women, if that's average, there will be women where it's 0 or all but 0. And those patients, I will say, don't bother. Those patients usually also have elevated pituitary hormone levels. So we measure those, the LH and the FSH. Because if they're elevated, it's indicating that you're almost at the menopause, if not at the menopause. So they are vital investigations before we make a decision to move forward. If you are lucky and your AMH, say, is 4 or 5, which I certainly have seen, and your pituitary hormones are in the normal reproductive range, then I'm certainly comfortable to move forward and give it a go. What does give it a go mean? We take you through an IVF cycle, which involves injections to stimulate as much as possible out in your ovaries in that month, with let's call it a level of 4. I will expect 4 eggs. When we collect 4 eggs from you, in a woman of your age, of 45, the odds of fertilization are probably about 50-50. So 2 of the 4 eggs will fertilize, and of those eggs, 1 might grow on for 5 days. So we get to a point where, if we do get to the lucky point, where there's a day 5 embryo which looks good, that raises everybody's hopes that there may be a pregnancy. I've certainly had pregnancies in that situation with 1 blastocyst and put it back and she's had a baby. But it's 1 in 100. And the reason is that if we genetically test that 1 embryo, and this is looking across all women at 45 who've had embryos tested, 98% of them will be genetically abnormal. 98%. 2 in 100, 1 in 50 will be okay. If you're lucky and you are the 1 in 50, then the chances of a baby are suddenly over 50% for that particular embryo. But the odds of getting to that point are, as I'm saying, are incredibly low. They're still not 100%, even if you've got a normal embryo, because other factors come into play.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.